Okay, I'm going to show you the basics of how they used to do a police hog tie. And at the Franklin County Historic Jail here in Iowa, we do realistic role play that is historical in nature. And so I'm going to show you how to do it, but I have a variation on it which makes it safer to do than what they used to do. The basic hog tie they used to do was just put the leg irons on and connect the handcuffs behind the back through the leg irons, or use a second set of handcuffs to do it if the person was larger and couldn't stretch as much. The danger of doing that, there's a couple dangers. One is that if they pulled on their legs, their arms pull, and you could really pull tendons and things in the upper shoulder area. The other hazard with a hog tie is if someone is quite overweight and they're stuck on their stomach. They might have trouble breathing and they could suffocate. So a hog tie needs to be done with someone who is in shape enough, and to make it safer, I'm just telling you, use a belly belt. So I'm going to actually do it using this, showing you a simple way to do it, and then I'll show you some other preferred things that I would want to do. If we do a hog tie on an inmate who is an inmate guest, let's keep it safe and not do anything that would hurt them. Okay, so in this case, they probably would have already had leg irons on, but in this case, we're just starting the beginning. So if you'll go down to the floor to demonstrate this. So I'm using one of the leather belly belts. These are normally put around so that the inmate would be cuffed right here with handcuffs. But for this, for hog tie, this is really useful. So let's get this underneath him, and the belt will have to be on the front. And actually, I should have done this before he went down. But this needs to be quite snug. And ask them if it's too tight. Is that too tight?
No.
That would be no, sir. Always make them say sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I got to get this one around. And I should have done this, like I said, right here, standing up. All right, so he's down. We've got to have the loop in the back, get the hands behind the back, cuff them behind the back, and it's pretty simple. Other hand. Now, you can go through the loop at this point with the handcuffs, just like you would in the front, and cuff them. If he's already cuffed, just stick a lock in there and cuff the, do it that way. In this case, I'm just cuffing it right through. So I've handcuffed him through the ring in the back. We put the leg irons on. They might already be on. Most likely they would already be on, but in this case they're not. Make sure they're double locked. And now you bring it up. Now, it depends on how flexible they are for how far you can go with this. In this case, it's just right, just perfect to grab another pair of handcuffs, put them through, grab another one, put it through, you're done. Now, there's several things that this does. One, first of all, he cannot slip it around and get his hands in front of him, because a lot of people, I can do this, I can be in a hog tie and I can slip it all the way around to the front, and I'll just sit there like this. Now, then I'm done. But if you want to have them really immobilized behind their back, this is going to be a much more effective way to do it. This point, he's really not going anywhere. He can still turn to the side. He can turn to the back. He can make different movements, but you have the prisoner quite secured at this point. All right. Are you good? Are there any issues?
No, sir.
Okay, so this is another thing we've got to be safe. So I'm going to show you some alternatives. One of the things about putting someone in a hog tie like this is that over time the modern handcuffs are going to cut here and here, and in the wrists I should also show that if he pulls, now if he pulls, the pressure is back here on the waist. It's not on his wrists. Because if I had not put the waist thing in, if he pulls his leg back fast, it would have possibly hurt his shoulders. So this is a much safer way to do it, and preferred. I'm going to show you some alternatives using other types of cuffs. So I'm going to start with these. These are a Darby style cuff. The key screws in to unlock it, and then you have to put on the legs. And in order to lock it, you have to keep it shut and unscrew it. And I didn't get that in. During the time that this jail operated, which it operated between 1880 and 1988, in the early days of the jail, in the 1880s, this is the type of leg iron that would have been used. So this is historical, and they would have done these hog ties to inmates that were in trouble. So there's the key to those. We keep the keys when they're being stored. We keep them in these cuffs. So these are the handcuffs that I would use, and again, you have to screw it forever. And so let's get your hand back behind your back. Now this has got to be careful not to pinch them. These can be snapped shut, but it's preferable just to use the screw. It's less likely to get them. Once it's all the way in, make sure that it really is connected. Now, there's a couple ways I can do this at this point. I could put these through the ring, but maybe afterwards I want to keep him that way. So what I'm going to do is cuff him without putting it through the ring at this point. Okay?
Yep.
I almost pinched you, didn't I?
Almost.
Okay.
I was about ready to holler.
Alright. Alright, so we have that on. Everything okay so far?
So far, sir.
Alright, so I only needed one of those. So now I can bring the legs back, and I could use a pair of handcuffs or whatever to connect to here. This, I'm just going to take a lock, connect it to this spot, but I'm not going to connect it all the way now. If he was really flexible, I would go all the way with this, but since he's not, I would use another pair of handcuffs. Now if we want to do it all with Darbies, we don't have to do it all with Darbies, but just for the look, I'll do this. You could just use a regular pair of handcuffs, but you could do it all with Darbies. So here's another idea. You don't have to use a lock. You could put the Darby through the back, these cuffs, through this lock. Make sure that's secured. Take this other one. Again, it takes 3 years to unlock each one. Unlock them, but then bring it back in. And he just barely makes it. You gonna be all right?
A little bit.
Okay. So there, if he's flexible enough, you can go all the way. And there he is in it. Make sure to get the key out. How's that feel?
It's tight.
It's tight. Okay. So again, you can also use just a short piece of chain and adjust it to whatever. One of the advantages of this particular thing is that if I wanted to make it so that he can't slide it back and forth this way, I could. I mean, you can be creative with this a little bit. I could lock it like this. Just grab another lock, go through the chain itself, and then lock it right to that. If the lock is big enough. This one might be too short. And then there we go, lock it, it worked. And now he can't, now it's a little more secure that way. If I want to be more secure, with these legs, because these chains are together, I can take yet one more lock and lock it together like that, and now he's even more secure. So, so there's some ideas of what you could do with Darby cuffs, just to give you some ideas. So you think it through, and again, this is in the jail role playing. We're just having fun. We're basically a bunch of teenagers, I think. Okay. Okay. So there, you can see it better that way. All right. You're doing okay?
I'm fine.
All right. He's okay. All right. But I'm not going to leave him this way for too long. You've got to make sure that they're watched all the time and that they're safe. Monitoring should be constant for safety. So now we're going to show you the next thing will be yet one more alternative for a hog tie. This is if you, because metal is kind of unforgiving. This is, would you say that this was more comfortable than the other, except for being pulled that hard, the cuffs?
Yes, they're much smoother.
Right, they're smoother, they don't cut as much.
Correct.
So if you were in a hog tie, you would last longer in this than you would with the police handcuffs because they just kind of cut into you pretty quickly.
Very much, sir.
So now we're going to do what would last the longest of all three systems that I've shown you. All right, we'll get all this off. Like I said, while I'm taking this off, you guys can have a coffee break and then come back in 5 minutes. All right, we've almost got it off. Twist, 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 twist. So, this is the reason why they used to have the slang calling the guards the screws, because they would screw these in and screw them out. They also called them the turnkey. All right, so these are all set. You put them, did you notice I unscrewed them? You don't leave them screwed in with the spring screwed in, it'll ruin the spring. So you screw them out, not enough that the key will fall out, but screw them out, and that way they're stored with the keys in them, ready for use. Okay, so using the same belly chain that we did, same belly belt, we have these humane restraints. And we made it kind of easy for you because there are two ankle ones, and let me get real close so you can see. See? They're labeled, they say ankle. So if it says wrist on there, don't put them on the ankle, and it says vice versa. So, okay, anyway. Did you notice I just read them bigger the other day? So it's clearer. All right. So I'm just, you don't have to start wherever with an ankle. Okay, so these, we've shown how to use these, but you put the restraint on, put the strap through the staple, put it through, and make sure it's locked. Another one, same thing, I put it through. Now these are soft restraints, these are humane restraints, and these are quite comfortable. We're going to do the hands. Guess what? These ones say wrist in them. Trust me, they do. So I'm putting them on. I put it through the staple. Make sure you get this through the strap through the staple. Put it in. Make sure that it is locked, and that's now secure. You can twist it on his wrist if needed. It can be another wrist. We're going to put that through the staple. Take the strap through the staple. Put it through the end. Hit the hole. Snap it down. We're secure. Now you make sure that these two staples, the ones that are left, are pointed toward each other. Same with the legs. Make sure they're pointed toward each other. Now there's several ways you can do the hog tie. Sometimes I've just put, if I want it more severe, I just lock this with a lock right there, if they're real flexible. If not, then you can use these different straps. So, so here's one idea, is just to take it through this loop here, take a short strap, and that's got to go through that staple. I've now caught all three things, and this could be locked like this. Now, if he was really flexible, I could actually grab all of this through it, but we'll do it this way for this, just for this demonstration. Now I can pull it. Let's see how tight I can go. We'll go that tight. That's pretty comfortable.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to take another one. This is a medium length. I'm going to pull it through. There's a lot of ways I could do this. I could take a lock. If I want his legs really close together, I could take a lock and lock them together like that, and then put a strap just between his legs. Or I can use, so if I did this, I could put a lock and maybe a short chain and just lock it to there. And now his legs are closer together. If I don't care about that and want to have a little more space, then you just do this. Like I said, there's a lot of ways you can do it. Now I'm just going through one of the straps, bring his leg back through the staple. So this is a little more easier. This is a little easier. But if I do it this way, the one thing that he can kind of spread his legs a little bit. How's that feel?
It's good, sir.
Okay, so you secured him. This could have been through there. You adjust to whatever you need. Again, the pressure is here if you force your legs back real hard, like fighting. Now, the pressure is more on the waist, not so much on the shoulders. It stops at some point, and he can't. Are you feeling a lot of pressure on your shoulders?
Not at all, sir.
All right. So again, the pressure is going on the waist rather than the shoulders, where he could get injured. However, still watch the inmate at all times, because in role playing we don't want anyone getting hurt. Please, officers. Okay. He's rolling. There we go. He's rolling off the camera. All right. All right. Very good. All right. You good?
I'm good.
All right. So that's how you do it. Like I said, there's a lot of other creative ways you could do this, but that's the basics. If you don't want him rolling all over and he's in his cell, well, guess what? You take another strap or chain and hook it up to the top of the bed, and he's not going anywhere. If he's on a place that's got a ledge, like a bed, where he could roll off onto the floor, secure him so he won't fall off. Again, safety first.